Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Tempe City Council regular council meeting on Thursday, August 18th. The time is now 6:11 p.m. Members of the public who attend the meeting physically are asked to maintain distance between other parties, and masks are optional for all attendees per City of Tempe policy. Alternatively, members of the public may attend the meeting virtually through Cisco WebEx events by visiting tempe.gov/councilmeetinginfo for more information. Council meetings can also be watched in real time via Cox Cable Channel 11 and at tempe.gov/tempe11. I'd now like to invite everyone who's able and willing to stand to join me in a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's kind of interesting up here. You know, we have new seating assignments with Vice Mayor Adams here and a little bit of shifting on the council and our two new members, and the flag was even moved. So we're just trying to figure out what's going on around here. So, all right, next up, we're going to do item number 4, meeting minutes. Tonight I'll be assisted by Councilmember Garland. Councilmember Garland.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve the City Council minutes, items 4A1 and 4A2.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Garland, seconded by Councilmember Keating. Just noting, too, that I know Councilmembers Chin and Hodge will be abstaining from items from 4A2, excuse me. So just wanted to make sure I noted that. So do we want to, actually, let's do this here. Did you do, Councilmember, 4A1 and 4A2? Let's do, would you mind rescinding that and doing just 4A1 alone and doing them separately? Okay.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the City Council minutes, items 4A1.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Garland and seconded by Councilmember Keating. Please vote. Okay, Councilmember, you can switch back if you want to for this one. Only at 4A2.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
yeah. So perfect. There it is. All right, and that item passes unanimously, 7-0. Okay, this is the extension item. Next up is item 4A2, City Council Executive Session, June 17, 2021, June 24, 2021, November 9, 2021, January 13, 2022, and February 10, 2022. Do I have a motion to approve?
It's moved.
Been moved by Councilmember Keating and seconded by Councilmember Garland. Please vote. Let's see. Oh, there we go. And that item passes 5-0 with Councilmember Chin and Councilmember Hodge abstaining. Thank you very much, Councilmember Garland. Next up, we're going to go to the acceptance of board, commission, and committee meeting minutes. Councilmember Garland.
I would like to make a motion to approve and accept the board, commission, and committee minutes, items 4B1 through 4B13.
It's been moved by Councilmember Garland. Do I have a second? Second. Seconded by Vice Mayor Adams. Please vote. Mine said I need to reload my screen. There we go. And that item passes unanimously 7-0. All right, next up here, item 5, reports and announcements, mayor's reports and announcements. 5A1, we have the Youth Advisory Commission appointments. The following appointments have been made to the Mayor's Youth Advisory Commission as outlined by item 7A1 on the agenda. We're going to display these slides up here, so please take a look. I'm going to read out each commissioner's name and the school they attend. We have Amrin Anderson, Ava Zuniga Munoz, Brian Reyes from Tempe High. Well, actually, we'll go back. Amrin Anderson from Mcclintock High School, Ava Zuniga Munoz from Mcclintock High School, Brian Reyes from Tempe High, Emma Rodriguez from Tempe High, Evelyn Simontel from Tempe High, Ivy Hermosillo from Mcclintock High, Jacob Eliezer Block from Corona del Sol, Natalie Epperson from Tempe Prep Academy, Rati Tabatadze from Gilbert Classical Academy, Sarah Jose from Corona del Sol, and Sydney Braun from Corona del Sol. I would like to ask if we can come take a quick photo, council, with all the folks here, and then we can vote.
Everybody scooch this way just a little bit, kind of toward the center. Scooch, scooch, scooch. All down. Do this. Let's have you stand in front. Let's have you guys. These two gentlemen in black. Marlene, let's have you. You're good there. One, two, three.
All right. So with the support of this city council here, I'd like to ask for a motion on item 7A1 to approve 11 new appointments to the City of Tempe Mayor's Youth Advisory Commission, and a second.
So second.
Been moved by Councilmember Chin and seconded, I think, by Vice Mayor Adams. Please vote. And that item passes unanimously, 7-0. All right. Next up, we have item 5A2, City of Tempe Board and Commission appointments. There are new appointments to the City of Tempe Enhanced Services Commission, Fire and Police Public Safety Personnel Retirement System Board, Risk Management Trust Board, Sustainability and Resilience Commission, Tempe Tomorrow General Plan 2050 Community Working Group, and Veterans Commission as outlined in item 7A2 on the agenda. I want to congratulate the following individuals on appointments to these boards: Nick Woodruff, Keith Burke, the Honorable Robert Arredondo Savage, Jake Ryan Swanson, Morgan Winburn, David Sokolowski, Nolan Williams, Juan Garcia, and Linda Bergevin. I also want to note that I, just congratulating myself in a weird way, that I'm appointing myself as the member for the Risk Management Trust Board. So,
All right, congratulations.
I just need more work, you know? I gotta get more in.
We don't want you to get bored.
Exactly. Next up, item 5B, City Manager's Reports and Announcements. Mr. City Manager, anything this evening?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. We have a presentation tonight from staff who will be coming up here momentarily regarding quality of life graffiti abatement presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Shelley Seiler, Deputy Engineering and Transportation Director. And with me tonight is Sean Thompson, our Engineering and Transportation Supervisor. Sean will be giving you an update on our quality of life graffiti abatement performance measure. Our department has been working over the last year to ensure that our our strategies are effective in moving the performance measures forward. And Sean will be touching on that as well as some of the challenges that we've faced over the last year. So turn it over to Sean.
Thank you. Thank you, Shirley. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Sean Thompson. I work in engineering and transportation, and I oversee right-of-way landscape and graffiti abatement. So tonight I'll be giving you a presentation on graffiti abatement. So this performance measure follows under quality of life. To achieve less than one occurrence of graffiti on the average per 4 miles by Tempe annual graffiti audit. So why does this measure matter? So what is graffiti? It's anything not wanted on our infrastructure. It may consist stickers, marquee stripes, spray paint, posters. So when we're out abating graffiti, studies have proven that it increases home values, decreases crime in the area, and assists the longevity of our city assets. This performance measure aligns with feeling safe in parks, safety in our neighborhoods, and the pictures you see are from Tempe Sports Complex. So why is this goal important? Graffiti affects us socially, environmentally, and financially. We want to make sure that we are reliable, that we have a high quality of service, that we are collecting data for our asset management program, and we're addressing secondary graffiti. An example of secondary graffiti is there's a white wall, somebody puts graffiti on it, and then somebody goes over and puts gray paint on it. It's still graffiti. Our objective is to make sure that that graffiti was never there, and you never know that we were there. So what's our goal? Our goal is to remove the graffiti as fast as it goes up. We want to track our hotspots, and recently it's trending in the restrooms in the parks, in the skate parks. You can see in the pictures there at Tempe Beach Park, Hudson Park, and Tempe Sports Complex. I'm currently working with the Parks Department creating and conducting a graffiti audit, so we have a wider picture of the graffiti in Tempe. And before I move on to challenges, I would like to take the opportunity to thank the mayor, council, city manager, and senior management for filling the temporary position into a full-time position. It will greatly enhance our program. So you can tell the baseline has gone up a little bit from the previous years. And oops, I jumped ahead there. My apologies, I didn't go over the challenges. So our challenges in the last year, COVID's been difficult for all of us in the last year and a half. And we had many changes in our staff through promotions, personnel leaving the city, but we are fully staffed now. Thank you very much. But we're still working through that training curve. Reconnecting with our volunteer groups in the past. With our equipment, I always say our graffiti trucks are like a sweeper. They have moving tools all over the place. And if one portion goes down, it affects us greatly. So if our power washer goes down, we can't get the parts for it, we're at maybe 60% of our efficacy. And also, possibly next year, utilizing some funds for utilizing contract services for bigger sites, like the water pits, the railroad tracks. This gives us opportunity to keep staff members working in our right-of-ways and parks. But the base data did go up, and some of the factors were replacing staff members, waiting on equipment, and high activities in our restrooms and skate parks. So our strategies as we move forward is to work with our public arts, expand our volunteer opportunities, ensure that we're sharing data with PD, make sure that we have an open line of communication with code enforcement, and making sure that we respond within that 24 to 48 hours. And also looking forward to new technologies and faster ways to collect data and to abate the graffiti. That'd be my announcement, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Vice Mayor Adams?
Yes, thank you. It's good to see you again. You're doing a great job out there. I have a lot of residents really sing your praises on a regular basis, so keep up the good work. Also, are we still, I know we used to have like within 24 hours cleaning up the graffiti. Are we still on that time frame?
Yeah, we're getting back to that time frame.
Okay.
We're still going through that learning curve with the new staff members, but we'll be there here shortly. We're within that 48 hours right now.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm glad that's still our goal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Adams. Any other comments or questions? Councilmember Garland?
Hi, thank you. We got an email that was sent to the council communicator that complimented the work that you guys are doing. Somebody wrote that in, so I just want to tell you, it was wonderful to read that, because we know that you're out there, so it's nice to be able to see that letter. I have two questions for you. One is, what does the volunteer pool look like? Are there different ages? Do you get school volunteers, school groups, and groups that need service hours? What does it look like?
In the past, we've worked with many of schools, ASU. They're big volunteer group. We work with a lot of churches and stuff like that. So it's us reconnecting with them and working with our community service, getting us in the direction with them.
Okay, and then I have one question that I wouldn't call it graffiti.
Yes.
But when construction companies come and they're doing work in the city, if you're walking on Mill Avenue, like we were on Mill Avenue today, but if you're walking on Mill Avenue, there's a lot of spray paint marks for things that was going to be done, or maybe it's going to be done in the future. It looks kind of trashy. Is that something that you guys would look at to say, this construction company was here 2 months ago and they're done, but their markings are still on the sidewalk? I mean, is there just a way to make that look?
Yeah,
Better.
if they're past their point of the as-built requirements for the blue stake, yes, we'll go out there and power wash it off if the company's already left that area.
Okay, because there are a lot of markings that are on the street and on the bricks. And I thought it would be something to wash away. It didn't. They're there. So I'm just curious how we can get rid of that.
I'll verify and make sure.
Okay, thank you.
The blue stakes are finished with.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Garland. Vice Mayor Adams?
Yes, one more comment. Keep Tempe Beautiful is another organization that has a lot of volunteers, and
Yes.
they're really willing to help out wherever they can. So I would encourage you to reach out to them and
I've
see
worked
if
with
you
Joe a
can
couple
get.
times already.
Okay, very
Yes.
good. All right, thank you, Sean.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Any other questions, Council? All right, seeing none. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thanks for all your work. Mr. City Manager, anything else?
Yes, a couple of introductions tonight. First, we have with us our City of Tempe's very first Veterans Coordinator, Abe Mccann. There he is in the back. Abe is a Arizona native. A few facts about Abe. He is a native to Arizona. He has 2 kids, a wife and 2 kids. His son recently graduated from Mcclintock High School. Go Chargers. He was a non-commissioned officer in the Army in Iraqi Freedom Operation in 2005. He came to us from the Arizona Army National Guard and held the title Soldier Family Readiness Program Manager. His primary background is in workforce development. He also previously served on the City of Tempe's Veterans Commission and will be the city's liaison to that commission. The position, of course, as you know, was one of the supplemental approvals for this fiscal year to permanently commit veteran services for employees and Tempe residents. His knowledge and experience assisting military families will be a huge asset as we expand our programs moving forward. So very glad to welcome Abe to the team. Thank you. Secondly, our second announcement or welcome today is for our new Financial Services Director, Lissette Camacho. All right. There's Lissette. Lissette is just finishing up her 3rd week with us. She comes to us most recently from the city of Glendale, where she had the pleasure to work with one of our deputy city managers, Tom Dunsing, and who certainly highly recommended Lissette to the position and was able to recruit and get her to agree, of course, to come and work for the city of Tempe. Wise choice, I'll say just at the outset. And we're very excited to have Lissette on board. Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. All right, next up, item number 6, public appearances. According to the Arizona Open Meeting Law, the City Council may only discuss matters listed elsewhere on this agenda for discussion and legal action. The purpose of the open call to the public is to allow individuals to address the City Council on any issue within the jurisdiction of the City Council. Public appearances shall be limited to an aggregate total of 60 minutes. No person shall speak more than once, and there is a limit of 3 minutes per speaker. Speakers present at the podium must state their name and city of residence and provide a speaker card. Members of the public shall refrain from making personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks and from becoming boisterous while addressing the City Council or while attending the meeting. Speakers will be taken first come, first serve in the order in which the cards are received. Speakers choosing to not appear in person or virtually may provide their written comments to council prior to the meeting for their review. Speakers' visual aids and appearances by phone or recordings are not allowed. Council members are prohibited by state law from taking action on, commenting, or discussing a matter raised by a member of the public, even if asked to do so by a member of the public, so long as the subject discussed by the speaker is not listed as a specific agenda item for council's consideration for discussion and legal action. At the conclusion of public appearances, the council may ask the city manager to review a matter or place a matter on a future agenda. Just wanted to note too, based on that, I have a number of cards here this evening, about 15 or 16. They're all kind of related to the Arizona Coyotes project. Clearly, people are allowed to speak about it, but there is nothing on the agenda for this item this evening, so the council will not be allowed to engage in any discussion via the open meeting laws. I just wanted to make that known, but obviously everyone who's here will be able to speak. So, with that said, I'm going to go in the order that I received the cards. The first person is Joshua Wells. Please come forward and state your name and place of residence. You have 3 minutes to address the council. Okay, no. Anyone, Madam Clerk, in the queue? No, okay. All right, next up then is Maggie Acosta. Please come forward, state your name and place of residence. You have 3 minutes to address the city council.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Maggie Acosta. I am a resident of Phoenix, but I work with Case, and I'm speaking today in the opposition of the 1.7 billion Coyote Arena development. I attended the community meeting on Monday to find out more about the project, and I was not able to stay for the entire meeting, but what I saw there while I was there, it was like at least half a dozen of residents that they raised concerns about this project. It seemed that a lot of this, while they had their questions, a lot of it was talk, but it was more of like sugar-coated, and I really didn't see like there was a clear answer on it. I just wanted to make sure that the information was relayed here at the City Council, because at least while I was there, the residents that attended were largely critical of the project. Another major issue that stuck to my head was that there would be like 217 events per year. As someone that drives through and works in Tempe occasionally, thinking about the amount of traffic, it is very extremely disruptive. The Arizona Coyotes have asked for over $640 million in tax abatement over the course of 30 to 65 years. Let me repeat this, it's like $640 million in tax abatement. I do not believe that the project should be given this giblets. The Coyote Arena especially should not receive the massive property and tax abatement. It's my understanding that in the past, the city of Tempe has been part of lawsuits involving this type of tax abatement. In my opinion, wealthy developers don't need hundreds of millions of tax abatements. What could that money go to if developers paid their property taxes like all of us? I urge the city council to say no to the project and to not move forward with the proposed Arena Coyotes development and the granting of this giblets. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Please, no clapping, please. We can't have any clapping in the chambers. Next up is Robert Eli Goodman. Please come forward and state your name and place of residence. Oh, there you are.
Hello, good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Robert Eli Goodman. I'm a freshman at ASU and a Tempe resident. Today I'm speaking against this billion-dollar Coyote Arena development. As a freshman at ASU, my friends and I are worried about how we will be able to afford to live and go to school in Tempe. I believe the Coyotes Arena will only increase housing costs and increase gentrification in this city. The Coyotes are asking for $640 million in tax abatements over the course of 30 to 65 years. This project should not be given these giblets. Students and Tempe residents deserve to be able to afford it and to live in this city. I urge the council to vote no on the Coyotes Arena development. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next up, we have Gary Washington. Gary Washington, please come forward, state your name and place of residence. Is there, Madam Clerk, any Gary Washington in the queue online? No? Okay.
Nope.
That's good. All right, so next up we have Catalia Ortiz. Oh, here we go. Please come forward, state your name and place of residence. You have 3 minutes to address the City Council.
Good evening. My name is Catalina Ortiz. I'm mayor and council members. I am a worker at ASU. I'm speaking today in opposition to 1.7 billion Coyote Arena development. As many as you know, we're in an affordable housing crisis. Recently, I have been forced to move out because I couldn't afford the rent increase, and I have been homeless in the past because I couldn't afford rent. We believe that the Coyotes Arena will only lead to more rent increases and housing costs in a city where many of us already being pushed out. Is the City Council okay with increased homelessness? I urge the City Council to say no to the project and to move forward with the Arizona Coyotes development and granting the GIFLETs. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next up, we have Amuchin Logan. Hope I said that properly. Please come forward, state your name and place of residence. You have 3 minutes to address the council.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Muchin Logan. I am a Phoenix resident. I used to be a Tempe resident when I first got to Arizona. I am speaking against the $1 billion Coyotes Arena development, and I just want to tell you my story. Me being a Tempe resident, this place is so beautiful. It reminds me of my hometown in Minnesota. And me and my sister was living here, and we lived in the south side of Tempe. Our housing condition wasn't the best, and the landlords did not stick to their word. My sister was pregnant at the time, and it was really hard for her because she was getting sick, and I did not want my little niece to be sick. So we planned to move out because we had to move out because the landlord wasn't coming up on their part. We moved out because of bad conditions, and I don't want this to happen to anybody else. And I still have friends here that live here, and I want them to be able to enjoy this beautiful place and have a smile and come back home from work and not be stressing about paying the bills and working a lot of jobs. So that's why I'm here today. Thank you guys for letting me speak. Thank you guys, council members.
Thank you so much, appreciate it. Next up, we have David Borg. Please come forward, state your name and place of residence. You have 3 minutes to address the council. David Borg. Madam Clerk, is David Borg in the queue? No? Okay.
No, he's not present.
All right, next speaker we have is Clay Bailey. Please come forward, state your name and place of residence. You have 3 minutes to address the council.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. My name is Clay Bailey. I'm a resident of Tempe. I am also here in opposition to the Coyotes Arena project. I did read up on the lawsuits in the past, and I am concerned that these funds will be misappropriated. I'm also concerned about the increase in traffic and congestion. As a resident who lives and works in Tempe, I drive across town every day, and I'm concerned about how this additional development will impact my living conditions and quality of life. I share concerns with other residents and concerned citizens about the effects of the gentrification that this development could cause. I also did read up on the problems with building beneath the flight lines, and I work in sound engineering, and I understand the ways that high decibel levels can affect people in long exposures, and so I believe that it is a poor choice to make that development in that spot. And finally, I believe that the $640 million, that figure that has been quoted, would be better spent addressing the issues that Tempe residents face daily, including homelessness and the increase in rent prices. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Next speaker we have is Brandon Ortega. Please come forward, state your name and place of residence. You have 3 minutes to address the City Council.
Hello, Mayor and council members. My name is Brandon Ortega. I'm a resident of Tempe as well as a student at Arizona State University. I'm here as well speaking in opposition to the $1.7 billion Coyote Arena development. And again, I'd just like to reiterate that the Coyotes have asked for over $640 million in tax abatements over the course of 30 to 65 years. And again, that's $640 million in tax abatements over the course of 30 to 65 years. I don't believe that this project should be giving these giblets, and the Coyotes Arena especially, should not receive this massive property tax abatement. And again, just like other speakers here, it is my understanding that in the past, the city of Tempe has been part of lawsuits involving these types of tax abatements. In my opinion, these wealthy developers don't need hundreds of millions of dollars in tax abatements. So like, what could that money go to if these developers paid their property taxes just like the rest of us? I urge the City Council to say no to this project and not to move forward with the proposed Arizona Coyotes development and the granting of these giblets. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next up, we have Lucia Vergara. Lucia Vergara, please come forward, state your name and place of residence. Let me see, Madam Clerk, is Lucia in the queue by chance?
No, she is not.
She's not, okay, thank you. Next up, I have Amanda Everett. There we go. Thank you. Please come forward, state your name and place of residence. You have 3 minutes to address the City Council.
Hello, my name is Mandy, or Amanda. I'm a resident here in Tempe, and I am also here to speak in opposition to the $1.7 billion Coyote Stadium development. I don't think it's right for Tempe. I don't think it'll be an improvement. In fact, I think it'll be bad for our community. I think it'll raise rent costs for us. And with a lot of people I know struggling to pay rent and getting pushed out of this city, I think that's a problem. This Monday, I attended the Coyotes community meeting because I wanted to learn, some more details. And I was not impressed with the lack of answers that I felt I received when I asked for a specific number on the dollar amount they were asking in terms in the form of tax abatements over 30 years. I didn't get a real answer. I just got a lot of words about how great this development would be and how iconic it would be. And I personally don't care how iconic it would be if people can't afford to live here. And when I asked why a massive wealthy developer who apparently has enough money to build this needs all this these tax abatements while Tempe residents pay their own property taxes, I just got an apples to oranges question and no real answers. So I have to say I wasn't very impressed with their lack of answers. And again, I urge you guys to please not approve this. I don't think it's good for Tempe, and I don't think it's right for us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next speaker we have is Ari Barong-Huber. Ari Barong-Huber. Madam Clerk, in the queue? No? All right. Next up, we have Justin Martinez. Please come forward, state your name and place of residence. You have 3 minutes to address the City Council.
Good evening, Council. My name is Justin Martinez. I'm a longtime resident in Tempe. Just trying to bring some recurring issues to higher light here as we've went through various entities to try to get resolve on these issues. So we live across from a park, Creamery Park, on 8th Street, and it has been perpetually taken over with encampments or looks like a lot of drug use. I don't know if there's dealing. Primarily, it seems like it's new synthetic fentanyl, which is extremely dangerous. Even touching the foil that it's smoked in can send you to the hospital, or a little kid could actually die from it. And the parks close after midnight, and we, call all the time saying, hey, can you close the park down, make sure nobody's in it, to help move these drug, issues out of here. And it rarely ever happens. We get answers like, oh, call during, after midnight whenever the park's closed. Well, I have work in the morning and we got to wake up early. So we just, let them know that they're there, they've been there for 2 weeks. Can you go do a drive-by, move them on? Some of the other issues, the street was due for some improvements back in 2012 when I had the lot, and I've never seen any street improvements. It's supposed to be some traffic calming elements. It's like a racetrack most of the time. There's burnout marks for 100 feet. I can drive down it right now and see a bunch of, tire marks, very loud. We've had cars spin out, almost come through the fence. Just a very dangerous thing, especially with the people trying to get from the neighborhood to the park crossing that street. So we're trying to get some, resolution on that, such as speed bumps or something that can help with that. And that's pretty much what we wanted to bring to light here, is that huge issue.
Thank you so much. I was going to, yes, Councilmember Keating.
Mayor, can we make sure staff follows up with this gentleman on his various issues?
Absolutely. That was exactly what I was thinking. Mr. City Manager, is there a way that we can follow up with Mr. Martinez after the meeting to talk about the various issues he raised, the drugs in the park, the speeding on the street, and the other? I know I've got a copy of his written comments as well in case staff needs them for reference. So, Councilmember Garland?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say if our staff that he'd be talking to could raise their hand, because it might be easier for you just to see them, who he would talk to. And also, we have a Care and Hope line with the city of Tempe that you can call when you see somebody in crisis that's in the road or something, like you said, in the park, and it's 480-350-8004, and it is a number that you guys should have and keep and put in your phone to use, and again, it's 480-350-8004.
We have used that, yes, multiple times, yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
Rosa would be the other person to talk to.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Next up, we have Katzen Midke. Please come forward, state your name and place of residence. You have 3 minutes to address the City Council.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Carson. I do have bad handwriting, so that's fine for Katzen.
No worries.
I was fortunate enough this Monday to attend the meeting pertaining to the Coyotes Stadium. And as someone that lives in Mesa but hopes to move to Tempe soon and uses public transportation as to get around the valley, there were 2 main concerns that I would like to raise. One is that there will be expected 217 events per year at this stadium, and I already take public transportation, and there's times whenever it's not very reliable already, and I don't think that having a very large complex and extra shopping centers, retail spaces, and apartments would be good for the public transportation here in Tempe. And also the 30-year tax abatement that they asked for, I don't think would be good for the city of Tempe. I think, like anyone else, the Coyotes should be able to pay their taxes. And while they did bring up some very good public works projects that they would contribute to, I think that, of course, it's a business, and they would be doing this to save money. And if these public works are things that the city of Tempe really needs, then they should be able to pay their taxes, and we can pay for them through the taxes. Thank you guys so much, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Next speaker I have is Jem Wolf-Schweiger. Please come forward, state your name and place of residence. You have 3 minutes to address the City Council.
Hello there. My name is Jem. I currently live in Chandler, but I am a student at Arizona State University here in Tempe. I'm speaking today in opposition to the $1.7 billion Coyotes Arena development. As many of you know, we are in an affordable housing crisis. Currently, I am unable to get housing in ASU due to the shortage of actual housing available within the Tempe area, especially in terms of what is near ASU itself. Even with temporary housing, which they would guarantee for a freshman like me, that has also been denied to me. I'm worried that with this development, housing prices, which I'm already paying for and not receiving, will go up. And I'm scared that I will not be able to actually be a part of the Tempe community like other students in my situation. We believe the Coyotes Arena will only lead to more increased housing costs and more gentrification of a city where many of us are already being pushed out. Is the city okay with increased displacement and homelessness? And is it okay with locking out students like me? I urge the City Council to say no to the project and not move forward with the proposed Arizona Coyotes development and the granting of these chiplets. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And the last speaker I have this evening is Tom Brown. Please come forward, state your name and place of residence. You have 3 minutes to address the council.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Tom Brown. I pay my taxes down at 85284. There's a lot of details and so many that it's mind-numbing. So I want to just touch on 2 basic ideas instead of trying to talk for hours about the specifics. First, and these are related to the Morella proposal on Rio Salado. First, simply stated, bigger is not always better. In this case, the density of the use, the proposed density of the use is really problematic. Tempe already has enough going on, enough traffic, enough chiplets, enough material concerns, enough problems to solve. You heard some examples today or tonight of a person who has the kind of problems that we hope you would be able to work on. In many ways, the less is more. Secondly, Tempe, the city, does not exist to subsidize business growth. Yes, life involves working, but a city exists for the residents to enjoy a quality of life, which Tempe has, and for visitors to work here, to attend school, or to enjoy the many assets. So I'm asking you to please thoughtfully consider the impact of the Morella proposal. It is so much more than a sports complex. Remember the values that are listed on the city website, such as inclusion and quality of life. Real estate profits are not listed there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brown. Appreciate it. All right, that is all the cards that I have this evening. Before I go ahead and close public appearances, is there anyone else in the audience who would like to address the council? And if so, please come forward and state your name and city of residence for the record. All right, seeing none. Okay, I'll go ahead and close that portion of the agenda and move on to item number 7, which is the consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda will be considered as a group and will be enacted with one motion by the City Council unless an item is removed for separate consideration. Members of the public may remove public hearing items for separate consideration. Public hearing items are designated as public hearing item at the beginning of the item title. Council members may remove any item for separate consideration or to declare a conflict of interest. If a council member would like to declare a conflict at this time, the city clerk will provide the council member with a disclosure form. If you wish to speak on a public hearing item, please fill out a speaker card and submit your completed card to the city clerk prior to the agenda item coming forward for council discussion. I will call your name when it is your turn for public comment. This evening, the consent agenda is miscellaneous items 7A1 through 7A16, awards of bids and contracts, items 7B1 through 7B31, and resolutions, items 7C1 through 7C13, with the exception of items 7C4, 7C5, 7C10, and 7C11, which were removed at the request of staff and will not be voted upon by the council at this evening. Also, I'm pulling items 7C2 and 7C8 for separate consideration at the request of Councilmember Navarro. Any item, once again, designated as public hearing item can be removed by a member of the public for separate consideration. If anyone would like to have a public hearing item removed, please get my attention now.
7C10 is not consideration, right?
Nope, that's All right. Madam Clerk, any comments received from the public wishing to address the City Council on a consent agenda public hearing item?
Nothing for these items, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk. Council, any other items that you would like pulled off the agenda for separate consideration? All right. Hearing none, then I'll ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda items with the exception of items 7C4, 7C5, 7C10, and 7C11 that have been removed from the agenda, and items 7C2 and 7C8 that have been pulled for separate consideration.
So move.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Navarro and seconded by Councilmember Keating. Wow, it was fast. All right, please vote. Okay, sounds good. Vice Mayor Adams?
Aye.
All right. Those items passed unanimously, 7-0. Next up, we're going to go to item 7C2, which was the first item that was pulled for separate consideration. Item 7C2 is to adopt a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an intergovernmental agreement between the Tempe Union High School District number 213 and the City of Tempe, which details the agreed upon respective responsibilities of the school resource officers. Councilmember Navarro.
Thank you, Mayor, and appreciate this being pulled. Just want to say briefly, this is a great move, extension of our school resource officers. They are an extension of the City of Tempe. They're a great value to our students at the city, for the City of Tempe, in terms of being able to have someone to reach out to, being able to help someone in need. When we talk about opioid addiction, we talk about all these things that affect our high schools. These are the values that we believe that have an actual impact. And I'll speak with 7C8. I know it combines with the school youth counselors. The combination of these two entities, in my opinion, has a big benefit for our community to handle situations and crisis at the lowest level. This is just a great opportunity, once again, for the City of Tempe and the Tempe School District to help support this issue. And I think it has true values. And with what we've saw recently in the latest news, having a school resource officer on campus does add protection for our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Navarro. Any other council members wish to comment? Councilmember Hodge? Oh, yeah.
Well, no, but.
Oh, I saw your
just
mic
wanna
was on.
say,
That's what
I was doing, I was gonna just do the motion, but thank you so
Oh,
much for
please.
that, on the behalf of Tempe Union.
And is that a motion, Councilmember Hodge?
Yes, so move.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second? Seconded by Councilmember Garland. Please vote. Vice Mayor Adams? Oh, there you go. And that item passes unanimously, 7-0. Next item that was pulled from the agenda for separate consideration is item 7C8, which is to adopt a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an intergovernmental agreement between Tempe Elementary School District number 3 and the City of Tempe for the provision of school-based intervention programming services. And that was pulled by Councilmember Navarro. Councilmember.
Yeah, once again, Mayor, just in coordination of the school resource office, our officers, a great value. We're splitting this with the district 50-50. This just adds another layer of protection for our students to have a resource to reach out with counselors to help them out help people out with any issues within the community. And once again, this is just an added protection. I think this is great for our schools and students.
Thank you very much. Vice Mayor Adams?
Yes, I completely concur. I've had parents tell me how scared they were to send their children to school after all the school shootings that we've had. So this adds a really important layer to having parents feel comfortable and having the children be safe in schools. So I will be voting yes for this evening.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Adams. Anyone else?
Thank you.
Councilmember Hodge?
I'll say on behalf of Tempe Elementary School, thank you so much for that, and so move
All
for
right,
the motion.
it's been moved by Councilmember Hodge. Do I have a second? Second. Seconded by Councilmember Navarro. Please vote. And that item passes unanimously, 7-0. Next up is item number 8, which is the non-consent agenda. All items listed on the non-consent agenda will be considered separately. Agenda items scheduled for introduction and first public hearing will be heard, but will not be voted upon at this meeting. Agenda items scheduled for second public hearing and final adoption will be voted upon tonight. Council members who may have a conflict of interest may abstain from voting on a matter, and the city clerk will provide the council members with the disclosure form at this time. The first item under the section is 8A1, which is to ratify the administratively approved annual excess insurance renewal program for fiscal year 2022-2023 to include the following insurance coverages: general liability and cyber insurance. Council, any comments or discussion? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve? Been moved by Councilmember Garland and seconded by Councilmember Keating. Please vote. And that item passes 7-0. Next item under the section is 8A2, which is to award 3-year contracts with 2 one-year renewal options to Ballard Spar, Kavanaugh Law, Dickinson Wright, Gabriel and Ashworth, Gust Rosenfeld, Kohler, Nebecker, Carlson, Haluk, LLP, Kudak Rock, LLP, Littler Mendelson, PC, Manning and Cass, Elrod, Ramirez and Trester, LLP, Napoli, Shkolnick, Strucklove, and Weinke Law Group for outside legal services. It's been moved by Vice Mayor Adams. Do I have a second? Seconded by Councilmember Hodge. Please vote. And that item passes 7-0. The next item under the section is 8A3, which is to adopt a resolution authorizing the Deputy City Manager Keith Burke or his designee to enter into a contractual agreement with Valley of the Sun United Way to accept the ESSER 3 Set-Aside State Recovery Funds grant as part of the collaborative statewide call, which is collaborating to accelerate literacy and learning for use by the City of Tempe's Read on Tempe programs, including AARP Foundation, Tempe Experience Corps, Tempe Pre, and the Helping Us Grow Book Club. Council, any comments or discussion? So moved. It's been moved by Councilmember Keating.
Well, second, but I was going to say thank you so much for this. This is great for all of our students. Thank you.
Sounds good. Been moved by Councilmember Keating and seconded by Councilmember Hodge. I stumbled a little over that, and I was worried that reading something about literacy, if I stumbled, that's exceptionally embarrassing. Please vote. And that item passes 7-0. The next item under the section is 8A4, which is to approve the utilization of a 1-year State of Arizona contract with Premise One LLC for the purchase and installation of security system upgrades. Council, any comments or discussion? It's been moved by Councilmember Garland. Do I have a second? Seconded by Vice Mayor Adams. Please vote. And that item passes 7-0. The next item under the section is 8A5, which is to approve an increase to the contract amount and term length with the Sourcewell Cooperative Contract with Highland Software, Inc. for the purchase of a new document management software solution. Council, any comments or discussion? Motion to approve. It's been moved by Vice Mayor Adams. I have a second? Seconded by Councilmember Hodge. Please vote. And that item passes 6-0 with Councilmember Keating absent. The next item under the section is 8A6, which is to approve a second amendment to the 5-year sole source contract with Xylem View Incorporated for software development and implementation services that will extend and expand the current capabilities of the Kona Work Order Asset Management System. Council, any comments or discussion? Motion to approve. Okay, it's been moved by Vice Mayor Adams. I have a second? Seconded by Councilmember Hodge. Please vote. And that item passes 6-0 with Councilmember Keating absent. The next item under the section is 8A7, which is to approve the utilization of 4-month State of Arizona contracts with Gruber Technical Incorporated and Titan Power for the purchase of uninterrupted power supply equipment, services, and maintenance utilized throughout the city. Council, any comments or discussion? Motion to approve. Been moved by Vice Mayor Adams. I have a second. Seconded by Councilmember Navarro. Please vote. And that item passes 6-0 with Councilmember Keating absent. The next item under the section is 8A8, which is to approve the utilization of a 1-year City of Mesa cooperative contract with Western States Petroleum Incorporated for the purchase of gasoline and diesel fuels. Council, any comments or discussion? It's been moved by Councilmember Garland and seconded by Councilmember Navarro. Please vote. That item passes 6-0 with Councilmember Keating absent. The next item under the section is 8A9, which is to ratify the staff-approved contract increase with Polydine Incorporated for the purchase of polymers used in the water treatment process in production by potable water by the Municipal Utilities Department. Council, any comments or discussion? Been moved by Vice Mayor Adams. I have a second. Seconded by Councilmember Hodge. Please vote. And that passes 6-0 with Councilmember Keating absent. The next item under the section is 8A10, which is to adopt a resolution approving and authorizing the mayor to sign an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Phoenix and the City of Tempe, allowing Phoenix to divert, treat, and transport supply water and provide backup water to Tempe in the event of an emergency. Been moved by Councilmember Navarro and seconded by Councilmember Chin. Please vote. And that item passes 6-0 with Councilmember Keating absent. The next item under the section is 8A11, which is to approve an increase to the contract amount with Applied LNG Technologies LLC for the supply of liquefied natural gas to support the city's transit and fleet operations. Council, any comments or discussion? Been moved by Vice Mayor Adams and seconded by Councilmember Hodge. Please vote. And that item passes 7-0. The next item under the section is 8A12, which is to approve the release of a request for proposal for transit operation services that will begin the process of establishing a direct contract between the city and a qualified company to be effective January 1st, 2024. Council, any comments or discussion? Been moved by Councilmember Keating. Do I have a second? Seconded by Councilmember Hodge. Please vote. And that item passes 7-0. The next item under the section is 8A13, which is to approve a change order allowance to Combs Construction Company for the roadway improvements, Mcclintock Drive from Del Rio Drive to Broadway Avenue Phase 1 project. Council, any comments or discussion? Yes, Councilmember Garland.
I just have to say that on my notes, I just have a really large, let's get this done and finish it, let's do it. So that's in my notes. So with that comment, I'd like to move to approve.
I have a here, Councilmember Garland.
So I've got a motion by Councilmember Garland and a second by Councilmember Hodge. Please vote. And that item passes 7-0. The next item, if I can actually turn this paper, under the section is 8A14, which is to adopt a resolution authorizing a maximum dollar amount for an individual job order of up to $1.25 million for the purpose of procuring construction services for LED lighting improvements, Tempe Transportation Center. Council, any comments or discussion?
Motion to approve.
It's been moved by Vice Mayor Adams, seconded by Councilmember Keating. Please vote. That item passes 7-0. The next item under the section is 8A15, which is to award job order number 32 to Caliente Construction Incorporated for the LED lighting improvements Tempe Transportation Center project located at 200 East 5th Street. Council, any comments or discussion?
So moved. Second.
Been moved by Councilmember Navarro and seconded by Councilmember Keating. Please vote. And that item passes 7-0. The next item under the section is 8A16, which is to ratify the construction contract to Hayden Building Corporation for the Tempe Municipal Operations Center Guaranteed Maximum Price Number 3 project located at 2617 West 1st Street. Council, any comments or discussion?
So moved.
Been moved by Councilmember Keating and seconded by Councilmember Navarro. Please vote. And that item passes 7-0. The last item under the section is 8A17, which is to award a construction contract to Hayden Building Corporation for the Clark Park Community Center Pool and Park Improvements, Guaranteed Maximum Price Number 2 project located at 1730 South Roosevelt Street. Council, any comments or discussion?
I do.
Yes, Councilmember Hodge.
I just want to say I am so excited because when I was in high school, I swam at Clark Park, and that was my pool. So I'm excited. So move on that.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Hodge. Do I have a second? Seconded by Councilmember Garland. Any further comments?
I'm super excited for this project to go
All right.
forward. So
Sounds good.
we're going to get the kids swimming again.
Yes.
All right.
Maybe I might go for a swim myself.
Yes.
All
I
right.
think we should all.
Please vote. And that item also passes 7-0. The next section on the non-consent agenda is ordinances and items for introduction and first hearing. These items will be read and introduced tonight, but no votes will be taken. The second hearing and vote for these items is scheduled for September 8th, 2022. The first item under the section is 8B1, which is to introduce and hold the first public hearing to adopt an ordinance for an amended planned area development overlay and a development plan review for a new 5-story multifamily development consisting of 591 dwelling units on 16 acres for Emerald Multifamily located at 1607 West Commerce Drive. The applicant is Barry Riddell, LLC. Would the applicant like to give a presentation? I see Ms. Riddell coming to the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. If you would be kind enough to pull the presentation up. Thank you. So Wendy Riddell with the law firm Barry Riddell, 6750 East Camelback. My pleasure to be here this evening on behalf of Davis Development. Wonderful. So Davis Development is a nationally recognized multifamily developer out of Atlanta, Georgia. They do build high-end luxury developments and develop and manage over 75,000 units. The site we're talking about here today is part of the overall Emerald Center, the northwest corner of Priest Drive and Warner. It is Lot 5 of the larger Emerald Center, and as I'm sure this council knows, Emerald Center is the home to IKEA, Lifetime Fitness, Dick's, as well as a number of other commercial venues. We are here tonight seeking an amended planned area overlay for Lot 5 to allow there to be multifamily, the use permit also allowing for the multifamily, and a major development plan review, which was reviewed and approved by your DRC. What we are requesting tonight is in conformance with the general plan. The site is designated as mixed-use high density, and the density that we're proposing conforms with that. So again, what you're seeing here would be phase 1 of Lot 5. The southern portion of Lot 5, however, will remain for future commercial development. So you see the multifamily integrated in with the overall commercial center. It's perhaps a little bit of a better image showing how we're utilizing the site. It is 2 wrap apartment buildings. We're looking at about 591 rental units, a proposed height of up to 80 feet. These will be well amenitized. Again, this is market rate multifamily. These are the types of amenities you should expect to see here. As well as one of the questions that we've had as part of this has been the access and how that would be achieved. You see from Commerce, Emerald, and from Priest Drive as well. There will be additionally connectivity to the commercial to the south, both pedestrian and vehicular. And then just to give you an idea of the renderings and what this will look like from the exterior, just have a few of these. We did, as part of our public involvement plan, we did have a neighborhood meeting. We had only one gentleman showed up who was in support. There's been, to the best of my knowledge, no neighborhood opposition, as well as a approval out of the DRC. So with that, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Burdell. I'm going to start with Councilmember Navarro.
Thank you, Mayor. Can we get to the slides again, possibly? Maybe the aerial view with the south property that might have retail.
With my super technology savvy
There
way
you go. There you
of...
go. So you say entrance, Commerce Drive, a drive-through, potential through to the area to the south.
There will be.
Kind of connectivity.
Correct.
And I appreciate that. And
Yeah.
I think this worked well, which reminds me of the development on Lakeshore and Baseline, where we had the similar deal. We had the ability to incorporate the retail, and it flew very well within the development, which I'm not saying, but is there a possibility of some live units on that street, possibly, that can be incorporated in to kind of extend the flow, I guess, you know? And it's worked, like I said, on the Lakeshore and Baseline development, it's worked very well, and some of those units have been, busy with haircutting or whatever it may be.
So, Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Navarro, on this particular project at the moment, we don't have any live work units planned, although I'm glad to hear you like that concept because I do have some others in the pipeline that we're working on that. This is a ground lease. The piece to the south where you see future development is actually owned by the Tates. So I can't speak to that. We're not asking for a use permit for multifamily there. I just know it will be commercial and have that connectivity. So
if anything, and just a couple more questions. If anything, I would hope the entrance, both north and south, have the look as if it is an entrance to use.
yes.
To really let the flow go to the south. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely, Mayor, Councilman Navarro. That's really the intent, is to have this look and feel like one project and one development, that people do walk from the apartments over to the commercial and get that benefit. So
awesome. And I appreciate the landscaping and just the details of that and how that connectivity of that landscaping flows with the other projects around that area, and then also with the future sites, potentially.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Keating.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Wendy, for the presentation. I like the project. I think this area is somewhere that certainly needs more housing. It's a beautiful area. I like the design of the building, and I've never criticize, I don't believe, architecture or anything like that. I hate the color. It just gives me Miami vibes. It's white. Like, I just don't like the color. That's it. I had to tell you. I would be doing my job if I didn't tell you.
Councilmember Keating, I appreciate your commentary.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. We go to Councilmember Garland.
Hi, thank you, Wendy. Can you go back to the overview so we can see where the trees are? Because I do think Councilmember Navarro pointed out, if we are peppered with that many trees around, I really appreciate that because, that's just another opportunity for people to walk and bike and ride and be able to be under shade. So I really appreciate that. But one thing I do say, we did get one comment or email that was sent to us that was, and I don't know if I was the only one who received it or went to council communicator that was not in support of this because they were concerned about the height of it being so tall that they didn't like that on that corner and they didn't like the density, or not the density, but the height of it. But I did look on there and it's not any different than was already approved on there. It's exactly the same.
Correct.
So I just want to point that out. So if she's listening, that the height has not changed at all. It's exactly the same as it was before.
Thank you, Councilmember Garland.
Thank you, Councilmember Garland. Let's see, Councilmember Hodge.
Thank you. Thank you, Wendy. My question is, I have two. One question is, do you have, is it going to be a dog park in there, area for, Yes, and play area for kids in there, because I know it's residential and multi-family.
Mayor, Councilmember Hodge, I'm going to have to check specifically on the dog park. So we do not have a dog park planned here. It is, well amenitized with a pool and outdoor areas for recreation that certainly kids could use as well, although they are not kid-specific.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my second question is, there going to be charging stations for electric cars and, okay.
Mayor Woods, Councilmember Hodge, yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you. Vice Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you, Wendy. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
I really feel like you need a dog park in this area because we have very few in South Tempe. It's something that Randy and I have been working on for years now. And I would really encourage you to carve out some space for a dog park.
Okay.
And second, this is a great location for people to live because you've got all those different restaurants. It's going to be such a walkable community, and shopping there, and so it's a great area. So I'm very excited about this project, and I don't really mind the white, but I'm flexible.
I tell you what,
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Yes.
the dog park better not be white.
I'll see what we can do.
Let's have that big green.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Anyone else, any further comments?
Mr. Mayor, thank you, council members.
Thank you, Ms. Riddell. Appreciate it. All right, is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the city council on this item? And if so, speakers have up to 3 minutes per person. All right, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council, any further comments or discussion? All right, hearing none, just want to reiterate that the second and final public hearing on this item is scheduled for September 8th, 2022. The next item under the section is 8B2, which is to introduce and hold the first public hearing to adopt an ordinance for an amended planned area development overlay and a development plan review for a new 21-story mixed-use development consisting of 352 dwelling units and commercial use on 2.23 acres for Lincoln South Bank, located at 1122 East Vista del Lago Drive. The applicant is Snell and Wilmer, LLP, and we have Nick Wood here. Good evening, Mr. Wood.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Nick Wood, Snell and Wilmer, 1 Arizona Center, and I represent Lincoln. As you're aware, Lincoln is one of the largest multifamily developers, particularly high-rise developers in the country. They manage 215,000 apartment units. They own and operate 53,000 of their own. They've been looking at this particular site on South Bank for quite some time, and it actually became available. So the site that you see here, it's on the west side of the South Bank area. As you all recall, this is the old Pier 202 project. And it's gone through a lot of evolution over the years. The good news is that the original Pier 202 developers, they did an improvement district, and using the bond money from that improvement district, they did all of the infrastructure. So streets, curbs, gutters, sewer, water, lights, you name it, it's all there. There's also some really big holes that are there. And what's nice is when you're building high-rise, it helps, especially when you otherwise have to do excavation. As you can see, we front on Rio Salado, so we did some design features that incorporate the Rio Salado frontage. And of course, it also fronts on the levee and the lake. Here's a little bit better shot of the site. You can see where the access, we have actually two access ways off of Rio Salado. The first one, of course, is out in front via Del Lago, and then there's a road just behind us to the west, as you can see here in the slide. Site plan, we take advantage of the fact that we are on along the lake. We have two recreational areas. One is where the pool that you see here. The pool is at grade level, so it faces out to the water, so there's great views for those who are using that area. Then, of course, the area with picnic tables and fireplaces and barbecues and other things. You can see there on the right. We surround the property even along that existing fire road along the west side. Main access is off of Vista del Lago. It's one way in, one way out. The parking garage is surrounded by units. And then, of course, our trash pickup, our loading, et cetera, we've taken off of Rio Salado. It's on the west side of the site. And as you can see, we come in off of that back roadway. And it's all covered and it's all internal, so no one sees it from the exterior. The other thing is, I'll show you some slides along Rio Salado. Really, again, high-end landscaping. What we're trying to do is encourage people to walk. This will be the first project along Rio Salado in this particular area, and we've gone, I think we've gone above and beyond in order to create a really inviting streetscape. Here's our development standards table, 350 dwelling units. That's a density of 157 dwelling units per acre. Unit mix, we've got 16 studios, 200 ones, 129 twos, 3 threes, and 2 fours. Technically, there are 3 bedrooms with a den or a study, but under your code, we have to list that as a 4-bedroom. Height, the main tower is 255 feet. Lot coverage is 62% at 59,000 square feet. We have 4,000 square feet of retail. That retail, basically, if I'm going to go back, is in the upper right-hand corner of the slide, so that it faces out to the lake. There will be outdoor dining if we have a restaurant or a coffee shop there. Again, the idea is we want people to use the sidewalk along the levee, and this becomes a very inviting component, an element of that. Vehicle parking, we are parking it at 577 spaces for 350 units. It's important for us to make sure we got enough parking, not just for our residents, but also for guests. Super Bowl Sunday is a big time for visitors, and you don't want to be caught short of parking. Bicycle parking, we've got 352 spaces, so basically we have one bike parking space per unit. Again, we want to encourage our residents to use bikes. I love the architecture. One of the great things about Lincoln is they're not a merchant builder. Merchant builders build, they flip, they move on. And that's not a criticism, that's just a business plan. That's not what Lincoln does. So they're building this for a long-term hold. They expect to hold this for at least 20 years, so they're building it with that in mind. As you see, the lower level, starting at the lake, we are going to be doing all of the improvements between our property line and the lake itself, and this is what the landscape will look like. Again, it'll be public space area, almost like a public park, and it's a pretty wide area, so it'll be an amenity not just for our residents, but also for the public. The architecture itself, I love the movements in the architecture, the movement, the depth, even the roof line has movement to it. The materials are exceptional. Rather than having stucco, which you see with a lot of the 4-story or 5-story elements, this is all brick. It's brick and stone and metal. We don't have any stucco in this project. As you can see, the tower behind it. What I like about putting the tower here is it doesn't lean up against the lake or anybody walking along the lake. You can see the use of glass. As most of you know, I live in Optum McKierland, so in our units we have glass to ceiling, from floor to ceiling, and it's the light and everything is just incredible. And of course, the views from this building will be extraordinary. Another shot of the area that we will be improving, and you can see where the areas are for the outdoor pool area, the recreational area. Again, we break up the building mass so it doesn't look, like a big monolithic element, even at the 5-story level. Here's along Rio Salado. As you can see, we have the entry feature that comes in on Vista del Lago. You can see we've got vertical slats in metal covering the one portion of the parking garage that would otherwise be exposed. One of the nice things, as you can see here, is as I mentioned, the landscaping. We had an interesting discussion with staff because staff informed us that there's a whole lot of stuff in the right-of-way along Rio Salado. There's sewer lines and electric lines and power, all kinds of things. So they said you can't plant trees there. So we have to have trees, we have to have shade. So we did two things. Number one, we put some trees in pots. So I'll show you that in a minute. The other is we actually create a shade structure, which extends over the sidewalk to create shade for the folks who are walking there. And here's a combination of the shade structures as well as the pots. Again, it's intended to be an inviting element to have people actually utilize the street and walk, especially since we're so close to Tempe Marketplace. Material boards, as I mentioned, we've got brick, stone, block, metal railings, fiber cement and metal panels, no stucco. In the tower, I love the metal, the metal, the metal. And then, of course, the balcony rails, it's all glass, which is, again, a very high quality, high-end element, which everyone will enjoy. We're happy with the stipulations that staff has proposed, and with that, I would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Just a really quick thing that I'm going to go to Councilmember Hodge. Great looking project, looks beautiful. I was going to say just one quick thing too, to thank the Development Review Commission. I know one of the things that they asked you for that you complied with, which I really appreciate, is expanding that square footage from 2,000 to 4,000 square feet when it came to adding additional kind of restaurant and retail space on the ground floor. One of the things that me and some of our colleagues have talked about is how do we find more ways to kind of activate that space and get kind of better, higher quality restaurants and food and beverage opportunities in the city of Tempe. And given the location of the folks that would be living here, I think this would be a great location for that kind of activation. So I appreciate the fact that the DRC not only made that suggestion, but that you worked with them to provide that. That's very, very big to me. So I really wanted to say I appreciated that. Thank you. So,
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Hodge.
Hello, Nick. How you doing?
Hello, Councilwoman.
I'm doing well. Well, first off, I want to ask you, it's beautiful, though it's white. Okay, so I just want,
man.
I just wanted to tell you, just putting it out there. My question is, I know about with the space for, restaurants and retail. Because of North Tempe, the area is like a grocery desert, some parts of it, are you looking to have like a grocery store, something that people can pick up food in there? Can that be something that's looked at?
Yeah, Mayor,
to add it in?
Councilwoman Hodge, it can be. Since we agreed with DRC to expand the space, obviously now we'll look at some different uses. We thought coffee shop, we thought, restaurant, and I think a potential for a grocer is not a bad idea, and I think it's something that we'll certainly consider.
I got a feeling there's not going to be a dog park, so I won't even ask that question. I do see the area that they can walk on the divided. So, okay, I'll let that one go. Is there going to be spaces for electrical cars? How many are you going to have, like, plug-ins for that in there for usage?
Mayor, Councilwoman Hodge, yes, we will start with charging stations. I think we'll have 10 to begin with, and then we're going to put infrastructure in so that as people like me with a Tesla move in, they can actually expand that system and accommodate a number of additional charging stations.
Is there going to be space for work, living, people who work from home that they can actually have? Is it going to be, do you have areas for that?
Yeah, Mayor, Councilwoman Hodge, yes. The ground level units particularly, as you can see, they have access out to the front, and they can use those as work-live space as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's see, who's next? Vice Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. This is an excellent project. I really like the looks of it. I think you've done a great job on it, and I like it that they're not going to flip it. They're in for the long haul. And I do think that little grass area out there, that you could put a little fence around one section for the dogs.
I see a new trend developing here. I've never heard this much about
There's
this.
a
It's
lot of
all
area
new.
here for
So
them
a
to
lot of
do.
dog park conversation.
I'm just saying, a little fence, let them run. And but I think it's a great project. So thank you for your hard work on it.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Let's see, Councilmember Navarro.
Yeah, Nick, thank you. A great project. Appreciate the expansion of the space on the retail side. Obviously, that's great. One request, and I love the open space. Could we have a few more trees, maybe not in the middle of the open space, but just to kind of provide a little more shade, just for anybody that wants to use that portion right by the lake? Just a thought. I think it.
I won't even turn around and ask the boss, Jim Payton, who's here. I'll just say yes.
Yeah, I think it deserves it.
He didn't throw anything at me, so. I'm with you.
Unless you guys are not.
I second that.
All right.
Yeah, he didn't throw anything at me, so I guess I'm okay.
Councilmember Chin.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to counter Councilmember Navarro's point there. I wish we had more trees in Tempe. However, we have to look at a combination of, and you had, a shade structure with some trees. I would think an expansion of that, especially in light of our water issues that are emerging. So maybe a combination.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you. Any other comments, council? All right, Mr. Wood, anything else on your end?
No, Mayor, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the city council on this item? Speakers have up to 3 minutes to address the council. All right, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council, any additional comments or discussion? All right, hearing none, just want to reiterate, the second and final public hearing on this item is scheduled for September 8th, 2022. The next three items under this section are 8B3, 8B4, and 8B5. 8B3 is to introduce and hold the first public hearing to adopt an ordinance for a code text amendment to the Zoning and Development Code consisting of clarifications, modifications, and additions within the Zoning and Development Code, amending various sections within Part 1, Part 3, Part 4, Part 6, and Part 7. The applicant is the City of Tempe. Item 8B4 is to introduce and hold the first public hearing to adopt an ordinance for a code text amendment to the Zoning and Development Code pertaining to subdivisions in Section 6-101 and 6-307. The applicant is the City of Tempe. And 8B5, introduce and hold the first public hearing to adopt an ordinance for a code text amendment to the Tempe City Code by repealing Chapter 30 subdivisions of the Tempe City Code and replacing it with a new Chapter 30 subdivisions. The applicant is the City of Tempe. These items are for Zoning and Development Code and City Code text amendments, and staff's available counsel to provide a presentation if you would like. Any presentations? All right, seeing none, is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the City Council on any of these three items? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. The second and final public hearing on these items is scheduled for September 8th, 2022. The next item under this section is to introduce and hold the first public hearing to adopt an ordinance authorizing the abandonment of a portion of a waterline easement located in the development south of Green Tree Drive, east of Interstate 10. Anyone in the audience wishing to address the City Council on this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council, any comments or discussion? Hearing none, just want to reiterate, second and final public hearing on this item is scheduled for September 8th, 2022. The next item under the section is 8B7, which is to introduce and hold the first public hearing to adopt an ordinance authorizing the abandonment of a portion of a waterline easement located in the development north of Curry Road and east of College Avenue. Anyone in the audience wishing to address the City Council on this item? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council, any comments or discussion? Okay, just second and final public hearing on this item is also scheduled for September 8th, 2022. The next item under the section is 8B8, which is to introduce and hold the first public hearing to adopt an ordinance authorizing the abandonment of a waterline easement located in the development west of Scottsdale Road and south of SR 202. Anyone in the audience wishing to address the City Council on this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council, any comments or discussion? Okay. Second and final public hearing on this item is scheduled for September 8th, 2022. The next item under the section is to introduce and hold the first public hearing to adopt an ordinance authorizing the abandonment of a waterline easement located in the development south of Don Carlos Avenue and west of Smith Road. Anyone in the audience wishing to address the City Council on this item? Okay, I'll close that public hearing. Council, any comments or discussion? Seeing none, second and final public hearing, once again, scheduled for September 8th, 2022. The last item under the section is 8B10, which is to introduce and hold the first public hearing to adopt an ordinance authorizing the granting of an irrigation easement to Salt River Project Agricultural Improvement and Power District over certain city-owned land located on the north side of Apache Boulevard between Smith Road and River Drive, and authorizing the mayor or his designee to execute an easement agreement and related documents. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the city council on this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council, any comments or discussion? Seeing none, once again, second and final public hearing on this item is scheduled for September 8th, 2022. Next up, item 8C, ordinances and items for second hearing and final adoption. So we will have a vote on this. The only item under the section is 8C1, which is to hold the second and final public hearing to adopt an ordinance approving a development and disposition agreement for developer-owned real property located at 250 West Rio Salado Parkway, and authorizing the mayor to execute a development agreement, one or more deeds, leases, and related documents with 250 Rio Owner LLC to effect such transaction. Do we need a presentation on this at all? All right. Seeing none, anyone in the audience wishing to address the city council on this item, please get my attention. Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council, any further comments or discussion? Move to approve. That was literally the same time. All right, so I'm going to go moved by Councilmember Keating and seconded by Councilmember Garland. Please vote. All right, and that item passes 7-0. Next up, item number 9, current events, council announcements, and future agenda items. I'm going to call upon council members for their comments, and I'm going to start this evening with Vice Mayor Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If you can pull up my slides. Oh, it's already up. All right, you guys are ahead of me. All right, so I just want to take I want to do a big shout out to thank our wonderful police force. I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge our Tempe police officers for a great job they're doing every day to keep our city and community safe. To give you a little idea of what they're doing and what they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, as of August 13th, the police have saved 216 lives by using Narcan to bring folks back from overdose that would normally have died. And I want to give special shout out to brand new officer Brad Hollingsworth. Brad was hired as the new police department's wellness coordinator. A former U.S. Marine, thank you for your service, deployed several times to Afghanistan. He comes to us with a significant knowledge of how to provide the correct resources for veterans who face PTSD. Brad will be the guy coordinating the peer support team and retention and training programs for our officers, with an eye towards providing our officers with the wellness sources they need to keep performing their duties at a high level we've come to expect from them. The next slide is a 2020 ASU Sun Devil Football Kickoff Luncheon. I'm very excited. I love ASU football and actually all their sports. And this kickoff is their 21st year. Tempe Chamber of Commerce, the Santan Ford Club, and the ASU Alumni Association put this event together. And it will be held Santan Ford Club inside Sun Devil Stadium Friday, August 26th from 11:30 to 1:30. So let's go Devils. And the final one is our kickball. Kickball is back in Tempe. We couldn't play last year because of COVID, but this year we're going to play again. Downtown Tempe Kicks League is back. Local downtown Tempe businesses teams get together, and the city council members have their own team and staff called the Pitchforks. We'll have 8 regular season games, then a playoff. The Pitchforks' first game is against the Ball Cruisers, August 24th, 7 p.m. at Gonzo Field. Myself and council members Navarro, Keating, Chin, and Hodge are all participating this year on this kickball adventure. Our first game, I said that we're playing in 8 regular games, and then here's hoping no one tears their hamstring like Keith did last time.
Wow!
So we're going to be really safe. We're going to We're gonna do an enormous amount of stretching before the, yeah, there you are. Hey, Keith.
Oh,
On his first kick.
On his first kick. Yeah, he went down. I was so worried that night about you. But anyway, we're gonna do a lot more stretching in advance and really try to keep it, going in a positive direction this time. So, thank you. That concludes my announcements, Mr. Mayor.
thank you, Vice Mayor Addo. I was like, she went there. She just totally went there. Oh, but Councilmember Chin, you're up next.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one short one tonight. Wishing good luck and congratulations to all of our Tempe Elementary, Kyrene Elementary, Tempe Union High School, and Arizona State University students, parents, teachers, professors. Some of the schools started a few weeks ago, some started today. Just wishing everyone a great year. Be patient with one another, slow down, and let's take care of each other.
Thank you, Councilmember Chin. Next up, Councilmember Garland.
All right, thank you. So I have a couple things. One, before I go ahead and read this, and you guys can just stare at it because it's a really cool looking slide. I said earlier today about, early in our council meeting, about the Care and Hope line that the city of Tempe has. This is a really important line, and I just want to mention it again. I didn't think about it till too late to make a slide for it, but just to say again, we have this Care and Hope line that you can call if you see somebody who is in crisis in the city of Tempe. It is a 24/7, 24-hour, 7 days a week line. The number is 480-350-8004. So please, you can go on the City of Tempe's website, tempe.gov/homeless solutions, and you'll be able to find some more information out about it. But it's really important that if you see somebody out there that you will be able to help, and you will be able to call that number. So regarding this line, I just want you to mark your calendars for my next backstage pass. The first two were awesome. I'm sorry if you missed them. The first one was at Tempe Center for the Arts, and we went backstage literally and got to get a great tour and see what the Tempe Center for the Arts was like, and learn about how that building was put together. The second one that we had was at our municipal courts across the street, which is really fun. We didn't tell people in advance because we didn't get this information out, but we also gave everybody a tour of the jails, and the jail also, and that was really fun. So the next one is going to be at the Tempe History Museum, and we are going to get a tour of the back rooms that are really cool because there's a lot of items that are not on display that are back there that you can see. Just the coolest transportation board that looks like the old switch operator where you had to like pull out something and poke it into a hole. Really old, really cool. There's another room that's a map room and pictures. Like there's old pictures of the city of Tempe, and they're going to take you in there. We're also going to have some storytelling. We're going to have some people that are there. They're going to tell you about some really cool stories about Tempe. One of them that I've heard before, but that I was reminded of, is alligators that were in Tempe Town Lake. And I won't tell you that story. You'll have to come, and I'll tell you about it then. Anyway, so it's September 15th, 5:30 to 7:30.
Thank you, Councilmember Garland. Next up, Councilmember Hodge.
Thank you. First off, before I get into that slide, I want to say that I had a wonderful time doing a ride-along with police and fire. I had a 12-hour shift with police, and we went through everything. I tell you, I even got a chance to ride, and they did the fast run. It was exciting, and you get to learn a lot about what police does. Also spent almost 24 hours with fire, but I think I spent 20 hours with them. We must have went on 20 calls throughout that time. So just got a chance to really dive deep into what police and fire do. I'm still and they have me in this competition to see which one is better. I will say that police fed me restaurant, fire fed me food, so police better step it up. All right. They cooked for me, and they cooked 3 or 4 times for me. So police, I'm just putting that out there, Andre. Okay. All right. And on that slide right there, I want to thank you, Mayor, for bringing it up. I would like to invite everybody, Tempe residents, to my inauguration breakfast with Burdetta. It's my first community gathering. It's on September 17th from 9 a.m. to 10:30. It's going to be at the Tempe Historical Museum in the community room. We're going to have, I'm going to serve free breakfast. It's going to be a beloved different Tempe restaurants. I promise every time I have something, it will always be restaurants in Tempe. If you'd like to attend, you can RSVP me back at burdetta_hodge@tempe.gov. I hope to see everyone there and get a chance to meet and greet me. I greet you. Thank you. And thank you so much.
Councilmember Hodge, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Next up, Councilmember Navarro.
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing but to congratulate all the new council members that are here, and thank you for sharing your new lunches and breakfasts and all that good stuff. So maybe next time when I come up, I'll have another breakfast lunch thing.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Navarro. Next up, Councilmember Keating.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have an announcement, but I also just want to congratulate and welcome council members Hodge and Chin on your first meeting. We're already having a lot of fun up here. I will say it wouldn't have killed either of you to back me up on the color of that building, though. No, you're just pointing out my double standard, which I also don't appreciate.
Well, I don't really have any announcements this evening other than to say that I am also going to be in the kickball league for the first time this year. And don't worry, Keith, I'm probably going to the hospital first. So. No, that's okay though. I'm just trying to take the heat off of Keith.
Oh, okay.
So you know. Next up, item number 10, public appearances. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the city council? There is no one. That's going to save me from reading that long passage. So with that said, I'll go ahead and say we are adjourned. Our next council meeting is on September 8th, 2022. Council, once again, we have to finish an executive session upstairs. Thank you.